Well, good morning, everybody. Please excuse the noise of the children in the background. It's March break, and in a household our size, it's hard to find some personal space to be able to do these things. So, numbers 21 and 22. I'm not going to kid you on this one. The whole exchange between Balak, Balaam, and Yahweh is for me is a strange one here. It shows that there was more than just Israel had knowledge of Yahweh. But we can see that Israel was the only one who had been given legitimate access to Yahweh. Balaam had access, but it was illegal access. It was through divination. Divination, witchcraft is something that the Yahweh was going to make sure was banned from Israel, because they had no need for it, because they had direct access to him. It's to this day people have illegal access to the spiritual realm, and because of their illegal access, there's a segment of the church that avoids really the knowledge that we've been given of the spiritual realm, because they see it as being occultish, being illegal, but they're acting as if we don't have legal access to it, and we do. We're ones who walk through the gate. We don't go over the wall. Those who access it through witchcraft, divination, and those methods are going over the wall. And those things twist them, and they're used to just steal, kill, and destroy, because that's what the enemy does. So they have access through illegal means by the enemy, whereas we have legitimate, and we've been invited to go through the gate and have permitted access to these things. And because it's all the same thing, the spiritual realm, there's certain languages, certain things that we have in common. But people who come out of occultism and come into Christianity sometimes get scared because they see some similarities. But the similarities are what's permitted. The similarities is what we have access to through Jesus Christ, through the gate. But this isn't taught in the church, and so it's difficult for people who come from that, because then they start accusing people of being involved with occultism and such, and it's not. So we have this exchange going on, and there's some strange things that happen here, such as why does Yahweh say that he can go, tells Balaam he can go, and then he wants to kill him along the way? And what stood out for me from my translation is the word reckless. He was on a reckless path. And Balaam was not a righteous man. He was in for profit. And we can't judge Balaam in the same way that we would consider Moses and such. This is a man who was doing illegal things and making profit from it. So he was on a reckless path, which tells me that when he left, God gave him permission to go, but had warned him only to say what he gave him to say. And we don't know his heart, but Yahweh knew his heart, and he was on a reckless path. So did he go willing to do what the king wanted him to say? And this is what is in his heart. We know what he said with his lips, but is it possible that it was in his heart that he was going to do what the king wanted and take the money? And so Yahweh was making a point here that the only way he wasn't going to kill him is if he was only going to repeat what he gave him to say. And to give Balaam credit, he did exactly that. He only pronounced blessing He didn't pronounce the curses that the king wanted. He pronounced blessing. But in saying that, we know later on that Balaam, I guess, advised the king to use the women to seduce Israel, and it started to work. Some of the men started worshiping Baal and fornicating with the women, and it almost derailed them, and it caused a huge plague, and they had to put an end to it, and it required death. Yeah. So Balaam wasn't a great guy, and he used all kinds of tricks, not just divination, but manipulation as well. And I'm sure the king paid him well for that, and it cost Balaam his life, because when Israel came in, he is specifically named as one who was killed. So we need to be careful that we don't throw the baby with the bathwater. We need to make sure that we are accessing these things that are beyond us in the only legitimate way, which is through Jesus Christ. That we don't try to sensationalize this and do things to our own profit, but we only have access to these things because of the mission of our Lord Jesus Christ, and that we are not supposed to be focused on self, and we are not supposed to use these things in a way to gain selfishly, because the blessings and the provision come from the Lord, and we don't need to provide these things by these methods for ourselves, because Dad has us. Anyways, that's a lot of stuff. I hope that there's something in there that you can take away and understand. You guys be blessed today. Be encouraged. Do not back off from the power that has been given to you to see the kingdom moving forward. God bless.